Good evening, I'm the Game Tutor, and tonight we're going to be looking at Awesome Pea, a Game Boy style platformer on Nintendo Switch. Now, first let me start by saying I really wanted to like this game, but there's quite a lot of glaring issues that stop me from doing so. The game starts well with the title screen and lets you choose from a variety of different effects. So I didn't really like the CRT effect, the tube effect was okay, so the general normal mode is how I prefer to play. Now, when you start and the game begins, this is where things start to go downhill. Now, I understand that this has been presented like an old Game Boy game, but the key issue here is that it brings a lot of the issues that many old Game Boy games had. Now, I'm sure a lot of sites might describe the aesthetic as charming. This is actually something I often say on this site, but the graphics for Awesome Pea actually make the game quite difficult to play and a real headache to look at. Now, one of the biggest issues is that it's very difficult to work out what you can walk into and what you can touch and what you can land on. Let us take this level for example. Here you can clearly see platforms separated by waterfalls, and I didn't realise until several attempts in that you can actually walk on those sections where the waterfalls are. Now, that's not a problem now, but you know, when I was playing, that was really irritating. It was making the game harder than it needed to be. And there are loads of examples like this that cause consistent issues and frustration. Now, this would be less of an issue if it wasn't for the fact that the game seems to be going for a hardcore crowd a la Super Meat Boy or Celeste. Now, one of the key reasons why both of those titles succeed in their difficulty is the game is split up into very short sections that can very quickly be replayed. The problem here, however, is that many of Awesome Pea's levels are not super long, but a couple of minutes long, and often when the one hit sends you back several minutes, you have to play through the same slow, fairly tedious section again. And after 2 or 3 attempts of repeating this same tedious and difficult section, only to be cheesed out of a life due to a missed hazard in the scenery or something there was no way of telegraphing, it's a really frustrating experience. There's one particular level quite early on in the sort of cave setting where you drop down the level on a series of platforms while bubbles rise up, and this actually repeats quite often later in the game as well. Now, you'd think this would be fairly easy, but this is extremely difficult and frustrating due to the fact that as you drop down, you have no idea where the bubbles are going to appear and absolutely no reaction time. So it really is just luck, and it took several attempts to complete this, which should have been a really simple section to complete. It's sad, as I really wanted to like Awesome Pea, but there really isn't much, sadly, I can recommend here. There are so many better examples of retro platformers out there if that's what you're looking for, and at a similar price point, and there's little or no reason to pick this up. If you want a tough as nails platformer, buy Super Meat Boy or Celeste, and if you want a retro inspired platformer, take your pick of the many on the eShop. One More Jump swings to mind. Awesome Pea is inspired by an era and a system that, while many of us do have fond memories of playing, I don't think there's any need to revisit its monochrome style or its outdated gameplay.